What's up, you guys? Carlos Toro here, lead boxing writer of Fightful.com, FightfulBoxing.com. Here to give you a quick recap of all the big fights that happened yesterday. Lots of big championship fights happening in Scotland, and then one in El Paso, Texas. Apologies for the interference in sound there with the noise. There's some construction being done. But anyway, let's go ahead with the first fight. In Glasgow, Scotland, World Boxing Super Series Bantamweight quarterfinals, Nonito Donaire defeats Ryan Burnett after a very strange set of circumstances that happened in the fourth round. And Nonito Donaire is now the new WBA Bantamweight Super Champion, advances to the semifinals. What happened was that Nonito Donaire was, doing well in the fight. And Ryan Burnett was certainly, in my opinion, winning after 4 rounds, or at least after 3 rounds. But late in the fourth round, Ryan Burnett threw a right hand and threw out his back. It's very weird. He threw a punch, didn't connect on anything. He missed. He whiffed on that right hand. And then he just dropped to his knee and was just holding on to his lower right back and was just not able to do anything. He barely got up and then just immediately retreated to the corner, where Nonito Donaire just unleashed the flurry of punches to Ryan Burnett, and Burnett was having trouble staying up. He didn't throw a punch. He was just defending. He was surviving late in the fourth round. And what happened was, corner looked at him, referee looked at him, and the fight got called off. It was a very strange and unfortunate set of circumstances for Burnett to lose his WBA title. He was the top seed in the World Boxing Super Series, and then to just simply lose it in this manner. He didn't lose it in the ring. He lost it because of a weird punch. He threw a punch, he missed it, and then he was just not able to keep fighting. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, or at least a fight of this caliber, a world championship fight and the World Boxing Super Series just end like this. It was very strange. I feel really bad for Ryan Burnett, and I hope he has a speedy recovery of whatever injury he has. I don't think they specified the type of injury that he has, which at the very least a lower back injury. I don't know if it was he hyperextended something or pulled a muscle. We just don't know yet, but we will be giving you updates on Ryan Burnett's condition as the days and weeks pass by. But now on to Nonito Donaire. He now fights Zolani Tete for the WBO and WBA titles sometime in early 2019. It was a really good fight on paper. The thing about Nonito Donaire is that the question was whether or not he would be able to be the Nonito Donaire of old. He was struggling at featherweight and super bantamweight, couldn't beat Carl Frampton, couldn't beat Jesse Magdaleno. But the fact of the matter is, Nonito Donaire was too small, or at least a little too small, to be fighting at 126. But when you put him back at 118, he now suddenly looks like a giant. He looks good. He looks fresh. He looks active. He was able to hang on to the likes of Ryan Burnett, which is no small feat. Some say he's the best bantamweight in the world heading into this fight, but he was able to hang on, not necessarily dominate Ryan Burnett. Nonito Donaire was kind of getting on the receiving end of more punches than Burnett. I'd say 60-40. I have not looked at the stats if they are available, but Nonito Donaire was certainly getting the brunt of those punches. But that's not to say Nonito Donaire did not do anything to deserve the victory. I mean, but again, it's a little hard to determine whether or not Nonito Donaire would have won had Ryan Burnett not thrown out his back, missing that punch in the fourth round. But nonetheless, Nonito Donaire advances to the bantamweight semifinals, and now also advancing to the semifinal. But in the junior welterweight tournament is Josh Taylor. And again, for those of you just joining us, I do apologize for the noise. There is some construction being done in the house and where I am at, and there's nothing I can do much about it. Josh Taylor beats Ryan Martin by TKO in the 7th round to advance to the World Boxing Super Series junior welterweight semifinals. Really impressive showing by Josh Taylor. I think a lot of people would have said this was about as good or about as secure a win for Josh Taylor as as any fight in this tournament heading into this fight, I mean, no one was really taking Ryan Martin seriously, and not because he's a bad boxer, but because Ryan Martin is a prospect, and still at this point in his career, he's not at the level where Josh Taylor or any of these junior welterweights currently are, where it is world class. And Ryan Martin, again, he's not just a prospect, he's also a prospect moving up in weight. He's only had a handful of fights, only a couple, one or two at 140 pounds. He was primarily fighting at lightweight and then moved up to junior welterweight, I believe, earlier this year. And then he won his junior welterweight fight, his lone junior welterweight fight in 2018 before being offered a spot in the tournament. And really, Ryan Martin just kind of looked out of place. He's still not at the point where he can confidently fight some of the best boxers in the world at 140 pounds, like a Josh Taylor, like a Jose Ramirez, or a Rigas Prograis, or Ivan Baranchyk. Physically, he has the tools. He has such an incredible physique. He's fast. His hands can be heavy when they need to be. But in terms of pure talent, he's up there. But he hasn't really honed in on it. He's being trained by Abel Sanchez, but he still needs a lot of experience. It reminds me a lot of Chris Eubank Jr. Over there in England. Chris Eubank Jr. has a ton of potential. Physically, he has the tools to be a world-class champion, but as we've seen time and time again, physical tools and speed alone is not enough to put you up there with the likes of, with Chris Eubank Jr.'s case, in the cases of with the likes of Callum Smith or Gilberto Ramirez or a George Groves, and in the case of Ryan Martin, the Jose Ramirez's of the world, the Rigas Prograis of the world, the Josh Taylors of the world. Still not at that point yet, but I think he can be. There just still needs to be a lot of fine-tuning. He needs to work on his instincts, needs to not be afraid to throw as much as he did not do in that fight. He didn't look great. He didn't throw a lot of punches. Abel Sanchez after the forefront was telling me, "You want me to stop this fight? If you want, I can stop this fight because you're not doing anything. You're not working the body. You're not doubling up on anything. You're just throwing weak jabs out there." And Josh Taylor, coming out of that win over Victor Postol, I think a lot of people are really high up on Josh Taylor. I certainly am too, and he has about as good a chance to win this tournament as anyone, but he now faces the daunting task of facing the one and only Ivan Baranchyk. Ivan Baranchyk, boy, he looks so good in his last fight, defeating Anthony Yiget. You can check out my thoughts on that fight on the Fightful Boxing podcast that I did on Thursday. But this is going to be a great fight. Josh Taylor versus Ivan Baranchyk has potential, if fight of the year potential, well, on the fringe level, more like the honorable mention part of fight of the year when people are discussing that. That fight's going to happen in early 2019, same as Zolani Tete versus Nonito Donaire, as with all the World Boxing Super Series semifinals. And all of these fights look really good on paper. We just need to see how Nonito Donaire fares against another world-class bantamweight and how Josh Taylor faces off against a strong puncher who is riding a ton of momentum in Ivan Baranchyk. But you know who is riding a ton of momentum right now? Miguel Berchelt. Boy, he looked phenomenal. He beat Miguel Roman by 9th round TKO on an ESPN Plus card in Texas. Big fight. Lots of Mexican boxing fans were really looking forward to this fight. Sin Cara from WWE was even in attendance, as you can see in my Twitter. He was sitting right behind Bob Arum, which is really funny. But man, this fight, simply sensational. On paper, this had the makings of it being a fantastic fight, a fight of the year contender. Both guys on paper had all the skills to be a world-class champion, to be about as good of super featherweight as you can ask for in 2018 with the likes of Tevin Farmer, Gervonta Davis, Alberto Machado. Miguel Berchelt was simply the better boxer. He battered and bruised and dominated Miguel Roman throughout the entire fight. He dropped it in the 6th round a couple of times, actually. Dropped it in the 9th round once, and then when there was about 10 seconds remaining, Berchelt pushed Roman to the ropes and unleashed about 7, 8, 9 uninterrupted punches upstairs, and the referee had to stop the fight. It was a one-sided affair, but I got to give a lot of credit to Miguel Roman. This fight should have been stopped the 7th, 8th round. I would go as far as say you could have stopped that after the second knockdown in the 6th round. But Miguel Roman, his heart is the size of Texas. He proved he has the heart, he had the ability, he hurt Miguel Berchelt a couple of times after those knockdowns. So it's not like it was a one-sided affair. It was just that Miguel Berchelt was just getting the better of a lot of the exchanges. And I got to tell you, there were a lot of exchanges. For those in the U.S., this fight can be seen on ESPN Plus. I highly recommend it. It is well worth your $4.99 if you already used up your 7-day free trial. I highly recommend watching this fight. Fun, exciting, high action, Mexican hard. I mean, listen, Mexican versus Mexican fights are usually really, really good. They're more like this fight between Miguel Berchelt and Miguel Roman versus the Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight that took place last year. That fight is nowhere near what Mexican versus Mexican boxing fights usually are. And I gotta say, this division, not a lot of people are talking about it, but the whole division is absolutely loaded with big names. As I mentioned, Gervonta Davis, Alberto Machado, Tevin Farmer, Miguel Berchelt, all of those guys are just simply sensational. We'll see how 2019 shapes up, but this is going to be a really fun year in the super featherweight division if unification fights gets made. Miguel Berchelt versus Alberto Machado, that'd be a sensational fight. That has a ton. That's going to have a lot of action. Mexico against Puerto Rico. Boxing fans know that's always going to be a must-see rivalry, Mexico versus Puerto Rico, and those fights are usually fantastic. And, someone from the live chat right now, Tom Sawyer, the real boxing heads know Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, really 50-50 fight, plus in LA, all the celebrities and influencers will be there. 90% sold out and looking at 1 million pay-per-view. I wouldn't say 1 million pay-per-view. That's really, really stretching it. I really hope that it does well. I really do, because big pay-per-view events mean better for the spot, more opportunities for guys to get a bigger audience to watch them. Hey, bigger paydays for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. I wouldn't say it's a 50-50 fight based on what I've seen in the last two fights of Tyson Fury. Now, on paper, if we see the Tyson Fury that beats Vladimir Klitschko, I have no doubt in my mind Tyson Fury stands a very, very good chance at beating Deontay Wilder. But again, we haven't really seen anything from Tyson Fury in these last two fights that showed, hey, he's got a real shot at being Deontay Wilder. I'm not saying he doesn't have a shot. I'm saying that there really is nothing from the last two fights that showed us he can beat Deontay Wilder. We have to go back to watch the Vladimir Klitschko fight, which again it's almost 3 years ago. So we will see how that goes, but we will provide live coverage of that event. Big night on December 1, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury for the WBC heavyweight title. So that about does it here. I'm Carlos Toro, lead boxing reporter for FightfulBoxing.com, FightfulMMA.com. Check out Fightful on Fightful.com and hit like, subscribe to our new Fightful MMA and Boxing YouTube channel. Carlos Toro signing out.